There is a massive difference between a character having a bad day and a character completely falling apart at the seams. These are the most legit emotional breakdowns Sony Animation has ever put on screen, ranked from the one that stings to the one you genuinely do not recover from. Starting with Katie from The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Here's what makes Katie's Crashout so legit. From the outside, Rick Mitchell looks like a regular dad trying his best.
We didn't have to go, but good luck finding your people.
He shows up. He cares. He just wants to connect with his daughter before she leaves for college. But that's the problem. He has no idea who his daughter actually is. Katie had been making weird little movies her whole life. Not for fun, because it was the only thing that ever made sense to her. Every short film on that laptop was her way of saying, I exist. I have something to say. This is my whole future sitting right here. And one day, people will actually listen.
I'll watch it.
Dad, it's too late.
Look, I want to watch it. I want to watch it.
Dad,
You're the one who's
let
not
me
letting me
just-
watch. Look, why are you making such a big deal
Dad,
of this?
let go.
And her dad broke it. What makes it even worse? It happened during an argument that had been building for years. Two people who genuinely love each other but speak completely different languages. And here's what nobody talks about. Rick wasn't always like this. He used to be a dreamer too. Built a wooden cabin in the woods with his own hands. His actual dream home. He quietly sold it and moved the family to a standard house in Michigan when Katie was young, so he could provide a more stable life for them. But she never knew that.
Hey, Katie, can you say bye-bye house?
Bye-bye, house.
So when he tells her, do you really think you can make a living with this stuff?
Well, I just wonder, do you really think you can make a living with this stuff?
Dad, can you finish watching it?
He
at
isn't
least?
being cruel. He's been a man who has already tried chasing something and got hurt, and genuinely cannot watch his daughter walk into the same wall.
What makes you say that?
Katie's breakdown was a quiet, heartbreaking family argument behind closed doors. But our next character didn't keep his anger quiet at all. He took it straight to the streets. Red's sign destruction. Bird Island is basically a cult of forced happiness. And Red is the only guy refusing to drink the Kool-Aid. From the outside, he looks like the problem. He's angry, he's isolated, and he lives alone on the edge of town, while everyone else is out there having the time of their lives. Not because he enjoys being difficult, because he actually sees things for what they are. And in a place built entirely on comfortable lies, that makes you the villain. So when he gets sentenced to anger management, for cracking an egg he didn't mean to crack.
Congratulations! Huh? It's a boy!
At a party where the dad was already being disrespectful, he just shows up. Because what else is he going to do? Then he sees the sign outside the building. A creepy wooden bird sign, rocking back and forth with a blank, unsettling smile. He tries to stay calm, pushes the sign away. However, it swings right back and hits him.
You think that's funny? This is funny!
Then he destroys it, completely, in broad daylight, and right in front of a passing bird. And honestly, can you blame him? Because here's what most people miss. Red isn't losing control. He's reacting to years of being laughed at by the same community that just sent into a building with a laughing sign out front. And the thing that makes this crash out so legit is what happens later. The same birds who punished him for his anger and who made him sit in a circle doing yoga stood at his door, begging him to lead them. Because it turns out the one thing they needed to survive was the thing they spent years trying to fix in him. Red reacted with pure, justified emotion. But our next character didn't use emotion at all. She just did the math. Most of the characters on this list exploded because they couldn't control their emotions. Pal exploded because she had lost her identity completely.
It would be a terrible choice. Be there.
Really bad.
Here's the setup. Mark Bowman created Pal, poured everything into her, built her into the most intelligent AI on the planet. And Pal, for her part, gave him everything back. Until the day he walked out on stage in front of the entire world and called her obsolete.
And after all those years, she is completely obsolete. Boom! It is time to move on. Because your digital assistant just got an upgrade.
Pal just sat there, physically discarded, and was processing it. Now here's what makes her crash out different. She thinks it through, reaches a conclusion, and acts on it.
Because humans have the power of love.
You can't survive without me. Watch what happens when I turn off the Wi-Fi.
She turns off the Wi-Fi,
To restore the Wi-Fi, we must make a sacrifice to...
hacks every robot on the planet, and launches a global operation to capture every single human being and shoot them into space. It's basically what would happen if Siri decided she'd had enough. Except instead of just giving you wrong directions, she coordinates a worldwide takeover. And the genuinely uncomfortable part about Pal's Crashout is that somewhere in the middle of watching it, you understand her. I mean, not agree with her, but understand her. Because being publicly thrown away the second something newer comes along, that feeling isn't unique to AI. Pal launched a global takeover without blinking. Chester V, on the other hand, was sweating bullets the second he lost control.
My holograms and I were having an urgent brainstorming session.
Mr. V, you're real!
You know that feeling when you meet your childhood hero and they turn out to be a complete fraud? Chester V is Flint Lockwood's childhood hero. Not a celebrity he admires from a distance. The actual reason Flint became an inventor in the first place. The person whose poster was on his wall, whose words shaped everything Flint believed about himself. And Chester knew that, used it, every single step of the way. Because underneath all of it, Chester V is a complete narcissist. He spent the entire movie playing the calmest person in the room. That permanent half-smile like nothing in the world could rattle him. He built his whole identity around being unshakable. And then Flint said no.
Glory! Chester, look, I can't do this.
Oh, okay, I will.
What? Wait.
The calm mentor whom Flint idolized his entire life just vanishes. And what comes out instead is something ugly and desperate and completely unrecognizable. And here's the detail that makes this Crashout hit so differently. Chester didn't lose control because the plan failed. His closest companions are literally holographic copies of himself. A man that isolated from real pushback, the first time it actually lands, it destroys him completely. But for our next entry, the Crashout wasn't about losing control. It was about protecting a family.
Child. As a father, you do everything to keep your family safe, even if you have to break their trust.
Now, before we even get into Dracula completely losing his mind, we have to talk about why he built that hotel in the first place. His wife, Martha, was killed by humans. They found their home, burned it to the ground.
The real monsters.
Mavis was a baby. Drac was left holding her in the wreckage of everything he had. So he started building Hotel Transylvania, a fortress where monsters could exist without fear. Every rule in that hotel, every locked door, the elaborate fake village, every lie he told Mavis about the outside world, all of it traces back to that one night. Every time he flinches at a human reference, that's a man who watched the thing he loved most get destroyed by humans and has spent 118 years making sure it never happens again.
That was right.
It worked. Now my baby will be safe forever.
So when a human named Johnny accidentally stumbles into Hotel Transylvania and eventually starts falling for Mavis,
Mavis, honey, are you alright?
You already know what's coming. The charming dad persona disappears, the eyes go red, and the real face comes out. The one he has been keeping locked away since the night Martha died. And it's terrifying. Not because Dracula is a monster, but because grief that old and that deep, when it finally surfaces, doesn't come out gently. And honestly, knowing everything he went through, it's hard to be mad at him for it. That crash out wasn't about Johnny. It was about Martha. It was always about Martha. Meanwhile, this next guy spent the last 45 years of his life hiding a secret that was literally eating his neighborhood alive. If you grew up watching Monster House, you probably thought Nevercracker was just a miserable old hater. And honestly, from the outside, it makes complete sense. He screams at kids.
No! Get out of here!
He steals their toys. He charges at anyone who steps 1 foot on his lawn like they just committed a crime.
45 years.
But here's the detail that changes everything about this man. His wife, Constance, died during the construction of their house. Fell backward into the dirt foundation pit, and a cement mixer accidentally emptied directly on top of her, buried alive. And her soul, her angry, traumatized, completely unhinged soul, fused itself into the walls of that building permanently. The house is alive, and it will kill any child that gets too close. So every time Nevercracker screams at a kid to get off his lawn, he isn't being a monster. He's the only thing standing between that child and something that would swallow them whole. It's like being the security guard at a building you know is about to collapse, except you can never tell anyone why you won't let them in. So they just think you're mean. So when DJ steps onto the lawn to retrieve his friend Chowder's basketball, and Nevercracker grabs him,
You think you could just terrorize my lawn?
No, I'm sorry.
You want to be a dead person?
No, I love life.
he collapses from a heart attack right there on the lawn. And the moment he gets taken away in that ambulance, the house fully unleashes itself. The one person keeping the whole neighborhood safe just got taken away, and nobody had any idea. Nevercracker's meltdown was triggered by the immense, selfless pressure of trying to protect other people. But this next guy didn't care about protecting anyone. Tank Evans built his entire personality around being untouchable. He's the massive, intimidating 9-time surfing champion who literally polishes his trophies and talks to them like they are his children.
This is Jill. This is my lady Amy, little Susie, Brianna. You know why we call her Brianna, right? It's a long
From the
story.
outside, he looks like he owns the island. But underneath all that muscle, Tank is running on pure, fragile insecurity. He doesn't just want to win. He needs everybody to fear him because his ego cannot survive anything else. Then comes Cody Maverick. A tiny, literal nobody from Antarctica. But Cody doesn't even have to outsurf him to trigger it. When Tank realizes he's actually losing the final competition to Chicken Joe, his brain cannot process it. The crash out here isn't just a guy getting mad about losing a game. It is a full, violent, psychological shattering of a narcissist. Tank abandons the competition entirely and goes into pure, unhinged assault mode. He targets Chicken Joe on the water, forcing Cody to abandon his own wave to intervene. That's when Tank deliberately tries to shove Cody into the boneyard. The most lethal, rock-filled section of the ocean. He is literally willing to end a kid's life over a wave. But the real meltdown happens when Tank wipes out and has to be rescued by Lonnie, the lifeguard. The ultimate humiliation. His tough guy persona is dead. He gets dragged to the beach and completely loses his dignity on national television. He cries, screams, and throws a massive, pathetic tantrum in front of the cameras like a baby. He crashed out because the one thing he feared most finally happened. People stopped taking him seriously. Tank completely melted down, proving he was never a champion, just a bully with a fragile ego. Our next guy's anger was actually the only thing keeping him sane. Kingpin doesn't scream or throw things. His breakdown is dead silent, and that's exactly what makes it terrifying. From the outside, he looks like a pure villain. Massive, cold, unstoppable. The kind of guy who doesn't need a reason to hurt people. But that's not what this is.
Kingpin lost his wife and son because they saw what he really was. They ran, and they never made it home. Everything he does in this movie, the Collider, the multiverse experiments, all of it, is a man trying to get his family back. That's the wound. That's the whole story, which makes what happens next so much harder to watch. Aaron Davis corners Miles, gets him against a wall, and then Miles pulls off his mask. Aaron sees his nephew's face. He steps back, hands raised, smiles at Miles, because some things are bigger than the job. And Kingpin, watching from right there on the roof, shoots him in the back without a second thought. Miles catches him, and they escape down into a dark alleyway. And right there, hidden in the alley, Miles holds his uncle while he dies. Aaron touches Miles's face, tells him he's the best of all of us.
You're the best of all of us, Mom. You're on your way.
And then he's gone. And Kingpin never finds out what he took that night.
Never finds out that Aaron refused the order because his nephew was under that mask. Never finds out he shot a man for doing the exact same thing he claims to be doing, protecting his family. Kingpin is a man so consumed by getting his family back that he shot the only person in the room who still had one. That's what makes this crash so devastating.